The Taking of Lungtungpen by Rudyard Kipling. My friend Private Mulvaney told me this sitting on the parapet of the road to Dagshai when we were hunting butterflies together. He had theories about the army and coloured clay pipes. Perfectly, he said that the young soldier is the best to work with on account, av the surpassing innocence av the child. Now listen, said Mulvaney, throwing himself full length on the wall in the sun. I am a born scut, av the barrack room, the army's mate and d8 to me because I am one av the few that can't quit ut I've put in 17 years in the pipe clays in the marrow. Av me av I could have kept out av one big d8 month I would have been a 183 Henry lieutenant, by this time a nuisance to my betters, a laughingstock to my equals, and a curse to myself bane. What I am Privet Mulvaney wid, no good conduct pay and a devourin' thirst always barrin' me little friend Bob's, Bahadure I know as much about the army as most men. I said something here. Whils'll he be shot between you and me and that butterfly net, he's a ramblin' incoherent sort, have a divil wid one eye on the quan and the court and the other, on his blessed Sylphy lastingly, playing Caesar and Alexandria rolled into a lump. Now Bob's is a sensible little man. Wid Bob's and a few 3-year-olds id swap any army av the earth into a towel, and throw it away afterwards, faith I am not jockin'. Tease the boys thraw boys that don't know what a bullet manes and wouldn't care av they did that, dhu the work they're a crammed wid bullmate, till they fairly ramps wid good livin', and thin av they don't fight they blow each other's hids off. Tease the trut, I'm tellin' you they should be kept on water and rice in the hot weather, but there'd be a mutney av 'twas done. Did ye iver hear how Privet Mulvaney tuck the town av Lungtungpen? I thought not 'twas the lieutenant got the credit, but 'twas me planned the shame a little, before I was invalided from Burma. Me and 24 young wans, under a 184 Lieutenant Brasenose, was ruinin' our Dideshins thryin' to catch dacoits and such doubling-did divils. I never knew tease only a dar and a snider that makes a dacoit widout thim. He's a paceful cultivator and felony for to shoot. We hunted and tuck fever and elephants now and again, but no dacoits even surely. We puckerowed one man trait him tinderly, says the lieutenant, so I tuck him away into the jungle wid the Burmese interpreter and my claninrod. Says I to the man, my paceful squiring, says I you quat on your hunkers and demonstrate to my friend here, where your friends are when they're at home wid, that I introduced him to the claninrod, and he commenced to jabber the interpreter interprutin in betweens and me helpin' the intelligence department wid my claninrod when the man misremembered. Presently I learned that across the river about 9 miles away was a town just drippin' wid dars and bows and arrows, and dacoits and elephants and jingles. Good, says I, this office will now close. That night I went to the lieutenant and communicates my information. I never thought much of Lieutenant Brasenose till that night. He was tiff wid books and theories and all manner av thrimins no manner av use town. Did ye say, says he, accordin' to theories av war we should wait for reinforcements. Faith, thinks I wed 185 better dig our graves thin for the nearest troops, was up to their talks in the marshes out Mimbu way. But says the lieutenant, since 'tis a special case, ill make an exception, well visit this Lungtungpen tonight. Strip boys, says Roman 1 strip to the buff, and whim in where glory waits p 185 to list. The boys was fairly woiled wid Deloitte win. I told em and by this and that they went through the jungle like buckrabbits about midnight. We come to the train, which I had clane forgot to mention to my officer. I was on ahead wid 4 boys and I thought that the lieutenant might want to theorize strip boys, says Roman 1 strip to the buff, and whim in where glory waits, but I can't whim, says 2, av them to think I should live to hear that from a boy wid a board school education, says Roman 1, take a lump av thimber and me and cannoli here will ferry ye over ye young ladies. We got an oud tree trunk and pushed off with the kits and the rifles on it. The night was chalkin' de hark, and just as we was fairly embarked I heard the lieutenant behind av me callin' out, there's a bit av a nulla here, sore, says I, but I can feel the bottom already, so I could, for I was not a yard from the bank. Bit av a nulla, bit av an estuary, says the lieutenant, go on ye mad Irishman strip boys. I heard him laugh and the boys began strippin' and rollin' a log into the water to put their kits on, so me and cannoli struck out through 186, the warm water wid our log and the rest come on behind. That train was miles wide orthris on the rear rank log whispers, we had got into the Thames below Sheerness by mistake Cape, on women. Ye little blackguard, says I, and don't go parkin' your dirty jokes at the Irrawaddy Silence men, sings out the lieutenant. So we swam on into the black hark, wid our chests on the logs trustin' in the saints and the luck av the British Army. Even surely we hit ground a bit av sand and a man, I put my heel on the back av him, he screeched and ran. Now we've done it, says Lieutenant Brasenose, where the divil is Lungtungpen. There was about a minute and a half to wait. The boys laid a hood av their rifles and some tried to put their belts on. We was marchin' wid fixed bayonets av course. Thin we knew where Lungtungpen was, for we had hit the river wall av it in the Dehark, and the whole town blazed wid thim messin' jingles and sniders like a cat's back on a frosty night. They was fearin' all ways at onst, but over our heads into the sh train. Have you got your rifles, says Brasenose. Got 'em, says Orthris. I've got that thief Mulvaney's for all my back pay, and shall kick my heart sick wid that blunderin' long sh talk av hers go on. Yells Brasenose, whippin' his sword out. Go 187 on and take the town. And the Lord have mercy on our souls. There was a melee av a sumptuous kind, for a Royal P 187 to list. Thin the boys gave one devastatin' howl and pranced into the Dehark, feelin' for the town and blindin' and stiffin' like cavalry ridin' masters. When the grass pricked their bare legs, I hammered with the butt at some bamboo thing that felt wake, and the rest come and hammered contagious. While the jingles was jingling and ferocious yells from inside was sh plit in our ears, we was too close under the wall for thim to hurt us. Even surely the thing whatever ut was bruck, and the 26 av us tumbled one after the other naked, as we was borne into the town of Lungtungpen. There was a melee av a sumptuous kind for a while, but whether they tuck us all white and wet for a new breed av divil or a new kind av dacoit I don't know. They ran as though we was both, and we went into thim bayonet and but shriekin' wid laughin'. Was torches in the sh streets, and I saw little Orthris rubbin' his shoulder every time he loosed my longstock martini, and Brasenose walkin' into the gang wid his sword like Diarmid av the Galden collar, barring he hadn't a stitch av clothin' on him. We discovered elephants wid dacoits under their bellies, and what wid one thing and another we was busy till mornin' talkin' possession av the town of Lungtungpen. 'Twas the most ondescent prade I iver tuck a hand in 25 privets, and an officer av the line in review ordered her, and not as much as wud dust a fife between 'em, all in the way of clothin'. 8 av us had their belts and pouches on, but the rest had gone in wid a handful av cartridges, and the skin guard gave thim they was as naked as Vanus. Number off from the right, says the lieutenant. Odd numbers fall out to dress, even numbers patrol the town, till relieved by the dressing party. Let me tell you, patrolin' a town wid nothing on is an pay rinse. I patrolled for 10 minutes, and begad before 'twas over I blushed. The women laughed, so I never blushed before or since, but I blushed all over my carcass. Thin Orthris didn't patrol, he says, only Portsmouth barracks in the Ard av a Sunday. Thin he lay down and rolled any ways wid laughin'. When we was all dressed, we counted the dead 75 dacoits besides wounded. We tuck 5 elephants, 170 sniders, 200 ours, and a lot av other burglarious thruck. Not a man av us was hurt except maybe the lieutenant, and he from the shock to his dacency. The headman av Lungtungpen, who surrendered 189 himself, asked the interpreter av the English fight like that wid their clothes off. What in the world do they do with their clothes on? Orthris began rollin' his eyes and crackin' his fingers and dancin'. A stepdance for to impress the headman. He ran to his house, and we spent the rest av the day carryin' the lieutenant on our shoulders round the town, and playin' with the Burmese babisfat little brown little divils, as pretty as pictures. When I was invalided for the dysentery to India, I says to the lieutenant, "Sor," says I, "you've the makins in you av a great man, but av y'all let an ood soldier spake you're too fond of the Eurocin." He shook hands wid me, and says, "Hit high, hit low, there's no place in you Mulvaney. You've seen me waltzin' through Lungtungpen like a red Injin without the war paint, and you say I am too fond av the Eurocin, sor," says I, "for I loved the boy. I wud waltz wid you in that condition through hell, and so wud the rest av the men. Thin I went downstream in the flat and left him, my blessin', may the saints carry ut where ut should go, for he was a fine upstandin' young officer." To resume what I've said just shows the use av 3-year-olds. Wad 50 seasoned soldiers have taken Lungtungpen in the Dehark, that way know they'd know the risk av fever and chill, let alone the shootin' 200 might have done ut 190. But the 3-year-olds know little and care less, and where there's no fear, there's no danger. Catch thim young feed thim high, and by the honour av that great little man Bob's behind a good officer. Tisn't only dacoits they'd smash with their clothes ofties continental or remise. They tuck Lungtungpen naked, and they'd take St. Petersburg in their drawers. Begad they would that. Here's your pipe, sor, sh moke her tenderly wid honeydew, after letting the reek av the canteen plug die away. But tea's no good thanks to you all the same, fillin' my pouch wid your chopped hay. Canteen barkeys like the army, it spoils a man's taste for molder things. So saying, Mulvaney took up his butterfly net and returned to barracks.